Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Liv.
No, it's Mr. Schardt.
Oh, sorry, I just was used to it being you. Sorry. Been saying that all day. Go ahead, Mr. Schardt.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Zachary, I want to talk about it. We're going to come back to August 5th, 2015, but I just want to talk to you about something else real quick, okay?
Okay.
All right. Beyond the April 28, 2015 shootings, you also had some issues in federal court, correct?
Yes.
And that revolved around your purchase of guns, correct?
Yes.
And you were accused of being essentially a straw purchaser.
Yes.
Okay, you purchased 3 guns in 2015, correct?
Yes.
Okay. One of those, I just want to talk about one of those guns. You purchased a Diamondback DB 15223 rifle, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you bought this gun in January of 2015, correct?
I think it was early January, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And you bought that gun for Kenneth Copeland, correct?
I didn't really buy it for him, but he ended up with it. So yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, Kenneth Copeland, and you've already resolved this federal case, correct?
Probation.
Okay. So Kenneth Copeland in January 2015 approached you and said he needed a firearm, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you're not a convicted felon at the time, correct?
No.
So you had the ability to purchase firearms.
Yes.
Okay. And you went to Arrowhead Pawn Shop to purchase a firearm, correct?
Yes.
And that was because Kenneth Copeland asked you to purchase a firearm, correct?
Yeah, he asked me for a gun, yeah.
Okay. And when you went to Arrowhead Pawn, you didn't go by yourself, did you?
No.
You went with Kenneth Copeland and Antonio Sledge, correct?
I remember me and Copeland, I don't remember Sled.
Okay. And when you purchased this gun for, and as far as you know, you're the first person Kenneth Copeland came to asking this favor,
Objection, speculation.
as far as you know.
He told me that he said he told me the gang unit or something, told me he can have a gun or something. It was something like that.
He told you the gang unit told him he could have a gun?
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm asking, you don't know of him
Oops, my bad.
approaching anyone else before you to try to get their help. As far as you know, you were the first person he came to.
Yeah.
Okay. And you purchased this gun for Kenneth Copeland.
Objection, asked and answered 3 times.
Okay. Did you charge Mr. Copeland anything to make this purchase for him?
No.
Okay, you did it on friendship, correct?
Yes.
And that gun is the same gun that Kenneth Copeland ended up getting charged with on April 28, 2015, leaving it in the bag at the rec center, Dunbar Rec
Objection.
Center, correct?
Objection calls for speculation and hearsay, unless he was there. So,
Well, do you know what happened to that gun?
Your Honor, I would ask that he provide a basis for his
Sustained
knowledge.
as to the prior question, you changed the question. If you know from personal knowledge.
What happened with the gun?
Yeah, not from somebody telling you.
Yeah, I'm on probation for it. He got caught with a gun.
Who got caught with it?
Copeland.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to the August 5th, 2015 meeting and that was with Investigator Gaither and Investigator Dennis eventually entered the room, correct?
Yes.
And I think Investigator Thorpe entered the room, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. On direct, you claimed that the police just came and got you. They wanted to talk to you. You didn't ask to speak to them.
I know for a fact I ain't asked, called them. Well, I'm call them myself. I'm locked up.
Okay. Your Honor, I would move to admit DS 41F into evidence. That is a clip from August 5th, 2015, times by evidence reviewer 21229 to 21335.
All right, that's submitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may.
And there's no objection. from
Mr.
chair.
Copeland, could you publish 41F? And Mr. Zachary, is that you in that, before Mr. Kokomo plays it, is that you?
Look like it.
Okay, and is that Investigator Gaither with the back to the camera?
It's so
With
choppy.
dreads, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And big shout out to Nuts for gifting 10. I know you'll love to say Nuts in the chat. Go ahead, guys.
Well, as you know, you contacted us. You want to come down here and make a statement about these cases that we have. Y'all been getting on my darn nerves calling me, so we're here. But even though you reached out to us wanting to talk, I still gotta advise you your rights, okay?
Okay.
That's a yes, you gotta say yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kokomo. All right, you heard Investigator Gaither say that you wanted to come down here to make a statement about these cases we have.
Yes, but I told y'all and them, like, pull up the phone real. It's my jail phone. I never called them myself. Like,
Okay. You heard her say, y'all been getting on my nerves calling me, so here we are. You heard her say that?
yes.
Okay. And you never corrected her on that?
I was going through withdrawals then. I don't remember. I mean, I probably wouldn't even focus.
Okay. You were going through withdrawals in jail, correct?
Yeah.
From the date you were arrested in late July to August 5th, you were going through withdrawals.
If you look
What-
at my
what ki-
jail records, like they always had to go through detox
What kind of withdrawals? For what?
from Xanax and Roxas.
What does that feel like?
Roxas.
What does
Pain-
that feel like?
Painful some days, like stomach, head.
Is it misery?
Yeah.
Now you're saying that you didn't call Investigator Gaither personally.
No, I did.
Did you have family members calling her?
I think I had someone say they called her and asked her what I was locked up for and this and that.
Who was that person? Was that SG, your girlfriend, that was calling Investigator Gaither?
I don't remember. It was somebody. It probably was her.
Or was it your family, maybe your father or your...
Not my father ain't calling no police.
Okay. Well, you heard Investigator Gaither claim that people had been calling, or you had been calling repeatedly.
Yeah.
Okay. The bottom line is you were desperate to get out.
Yeah.
Objection, asked and answered.
Overruled.
Yeah. Yes.
You wanted to have that meeting on August 5th, 2015, didn't you?
Really? Yeah.
You wanted to talk to the police. You were sitting without bond, facing 189 years, without any hope of getting out. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
You wanted to talk to the police to try to get yourself out of trouble.
At that time, I didn't know the details of that case right there, like what I was meant, like why I was being charged, but I know the gun I had got caught with, from what they was talking about in my last preliminary hearing. That's what I knew.
Okay, you knew, okay. From your preliminary hearing, you know you'd been caught with that gun,
Yes.
and you knew that that gun was going to be linked to
A
the
lot of
shooting of
shootings.
a lot of shootings. And you wanted to get out in front of it and talk to the police.
Yes, cause I knew they had that gun over my head.
Your goals, and you had from late July to August 5th to come up with what you were going to tell the police, didn't you?
I think I told y'all that I can't do. I ain't come up with it I was coming up with it as I was just talking, really.
Okay. Your goal going into that August 5th, 2015 meeting, let's talk about that. You wanted to help yourself.
At first, yeah.
You wanted to convince the police, Investigator Gaither, Investigator Dennis, to make calls and get you a bond.
Yes.
You wanted to convince Investigator Gaither and Investigator Dennis to make calls and get you leniency on these charges that you were going to be facing.
Yes.
Actually, the first thing you wanted to do is try to convince Investigator Gaither that you were innocent, that you weren't even there, right?
Yeah.
You also knew, based on what Demikian had told you, that your friend Moontunk had been implicated.
I mean, like, we really don't be hiding that from each other, so yes, I know.
Okay. And you wanted to clear Moontunk, Antonio Sledge, as a shooter in this incident. You wanted to clear him from being a shooter.
As a shooter, yes.
Okay. And you remember when Miss Love was asking you about, well, you put him at the scene, so how are you helping him? Okay, well, let's talk about that.
Well, I thought by letting him know he ain't condoning it or did no shrooms. I ain't know at the time. I was young, full of drugs.
In your mind, at the time of August 5th, 2015, there were degrees of responsibility here, correct?
What you mean?
Just being there is one thing.
Yes.
Being a shooter of the houses is an entirely different thing.
In my mind, I thought that's how, yeah.
Right. And so in your mind, at the time, by telling the police that Antonio Sledge was just there, just driving, you were helping him, even though you were putting him at the scene.
And I would tell him like he didn't disagree to it, but I didn't know. I was young. My first time going through it. Like, right.
You also wanted to get revenge on Demikian at this meeting, correct?
Yeah.
And let's be real, you wanted to talk about other things other than this incident.
I want to talk about. I wouldn't everything. They know I had already heard these things because my preliminary hearing. They knew that.
You know how the system works. You knew how the system works.
No.
Sustained.
You knew that people such as yourself, when you're in trouble, one way to get out of trouble is to give information on other cases, correct? You knew that.
I don't. To be honest, man, I was just young and dumb doing something, man. Thought I could.
Well, you wanted to talk to Investigator Gaither not only about your case, but you wanted to talk about other cases, didn't you?
Cases that had already been. It's like if you go get my preliminary hearing transcript, you'll see that a lot of these cases are already talked about, and I knew I had got caught with the gun that did a lot of these cases.
Isn't it true, Mr. Zachary, that you first started trying to talk about other cases and Investigator Gaither had to tell you, before we start moving on to other cases, we got to deal with your case first. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. And the reason you wanted to talk about other cases is because information that you give is a bargaining chip for leniency in the future for you to get out quicker, correct?
I thought, but
Okay.
once I thought on like what I did, I never ended up taking no plea. Like when they were offering pleas, like to testify and say all the people and stuff, I never took them.
Okay. You made it clear to the police on August 5th. You made it clear to Investigator Gaither and Investigator Dennis that you wanted to get out of jail immediately.
Yeah.
You said, I'm saying I don't want to be sitting in no jail, man. Sound right?
Yes.
I'm saying, can y'all just tell them to release me on house arrest or something? Sound about right?
Yes.
And law enforcement investigator Gaither indicated that they were going to do that for you, didn't they?
I don't remember.
Remember investigator Gaither telling you that she's going to hop on the phone with the DA ASAP?
Yeah, she said something like that.
Mr. Zachary, when you sat down with investigator Gaither and she wanted to talk to you about the April 28th incident first, your first thing you told her is you weren't there, isn't it?
Yes.
That was all the
Your Honor, I'm going to
drive-by.
move to admit
Mook Toonk shootings.
DS41A, which is August 5th, 2015 interview 21851 to 22201.
Admitted.
Okay, Mr. Kokomo. Oh, permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may.
Thank you. Mr. Kokomo, could you please publish DS41A?
Talk about this is what you've been charged with. What do you have to say about the case? That might.
Keep playing, keep playing.
You wasn't where? What did you hear about it?
Something had to go with me up to my DJ had jumped. Like so. And then,
You was at the house on Cleveland?
yeah.
Apartment, address you said?
455. And then that when she told me that she had got shot at too.
That same night?
She said that they had gotten a whole bunch of shooting, and then like Ill Gang had pulled up at my cousin's house. Cause my cousin over there boy named Tate. Y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Javante.
Yeah. I don't know his name, but she was going in the house. She said they were started shooting at the house, like they were shooting from the parking lot. She said,
Where is this house located? What you talking about?
Landrum apartment.
Landrum and Zone 4?
On campus.
North Campus?
Yeah.
So who stayed over there again?
My cousin Liz, right? And Tate.
That's what Javante said?
Yeah.
She your blood cousin?
Yeah.
I mean, you know how people say?
No, that's my real cousin.
So this gang got to shooting at them at Landrum.
Yeah.
Is this before or after D got shot at? Got jumped on?
She said it did happen last. This after all the shooting.
So first D get jumped on, then the shootings happen.
Y'all telling me like from how I heard, like what I heard first.
Okay.
I like shoot. Most of them call me or something in the morning, let me know that.
Mm-hmm.
But she like, most of them cussing D out, cause D telling them that he shooting, they had shoot them in the face and something. Most of them told D that he had to find around home. And then that was she like, then that was D told, I would sleep. D told me that morning like they had shot up the house.
D told you that, say that you kind of skimmed over that part. When you say D, you talking about Demekian, right?
They real name?
You talking about Lil D from 30D,
Yeah.
like Mechanicsville? Demekian.
Mickey like told me that they had shot at the houses.
Then who had shot at the houses?
Him, Tay,
Mm-hmm.
and who it was? Shannon. He just told me nothing. He said him, Tay, Shannon, and some other boy named Trey Dunn. You can take.
Named Trey Dunn?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He told you personally.
Yeah.
How did he tell you over the phone?
Nah.
In your face?
Yeah, he's over my house. I was sitting there, and he told me that they had shot the house, he said, and then what's called, that when they shot up Larry, where Tay stayed.
So if gang came back,
Yeah.
and shot up
Yeah.
Tay house?
Yeah, someone right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess that was she was gonna go that night. And he said that when they went and Pierre home.
Mm-hmm.
That when they went and shot up Pierre home.
Who went up and shot up Pierre home?
Him, Tay, Shannon, Trey Dunn. He told me them full name. He already said them. But
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kokomo. Mr. Zachary, the first thing you said in that interview was that you weren't there that night.
Yeah.
That was a lie.
I told you 400 times it was a lie.
You claimed that you were at your house on Cleveland Avenue that whole night.
Yes.
That was a lie, correct?
I ain't go to the club and stuff for real.
Okay. But you weren't there all night, were you?
Nah.
All right. You claimed to have information about what had occurred, though, correct?
Yes.
You weren't there, but you claimed to have information.
You see, I'm stuttering, stalling, making it up as I go.
I understand. You told Investigator Gaither that you knew what happened, not because you were there, but because Demekion had come over to your house the next day and confessed to you about what had occurred, correct?
Yes.
And that Demekion had told you that him and Tay and,
Yes.
this is the quote, what it was Shannon and Tradon were there with Demekion. That's what you claimed Demekion confessed.
Yes.
And that whole confession by Demekion was made up, correct?
I told y'all that.
That was a lie.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move to admit DS 41B, which is evidence reviewer 223 to 22443.
No objection from the state.
Permission to publish, Your
You
Honor.
may, admitted.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like you kind of getting off track because we got your phone records too. Mine? Yes, sir. What phone record? This is what we do. Okay. Remember when we locked you up the last time? Yeah. We went to the house and we ended up getting your phone number and stuff. And I got your phone record because that was your phone number, right? No, that ain't my number. Okay. Well, like I said, we can stop this right now because it's going in the wrong direction. And I don't want to waste your time or mine. Because this shit don't matter to me. My shit is good. This is what's going to fuck y'all. I got Demekion. Y'all, everybody thinking Demekion snitching. This is Demekion phone number, wasn't it? Yeah. I got Demekion. I got yours.
Wait, one more.
And I got more. 662, whatever. So I don't have no reason why.
So the media ain't necessarily have to tell it. You know what I'm saying? Technology told them.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I was impressed about coming to get you and coming to talk to none of y'all. Y'all want to talk to me? That's fine. This is the opportunity for y'all to say y'all said. This is what's gonna fuck y'all. So I feel like once again you kind of going in the wrong direction. You said you're gonna come down here and be honest about shit. I'm being honest. You wasn't there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Kokomo. I'm sorry. Let it go.
Oops.
So then we really ain't got much to talk about. This shit is on you. It ain't on me. So y'all want to talk about all cases.
Okay, let's talk about that. In the beginning of that clip, Investigator Gaither is confronting you and saying she's got phone records.
Yes.
Okay. And she's telling you that she knows you weren't home all night.
Yes.
And you say to her, I'm being honest.
Yes.
That was a lie. you claiming that you were being honest was a lie.
Yes.
You said, I promise I wasn't there. That was a lie.
I told y'all it was a lie.
Investigator Gaither said to you, y'all want to talk to me, that's fine. This is the opportunity for y'all to save yourselves, because this is what's going to FUCK y'all. This is the opportunity for y'all to save yourselves. What did you take that to mean?
Fuck everybody.
Say it one more time.
Fuck everybody.
What's that mean?
Shit, I done told you, like, I was just really making, like, at first I was making up stuff as I was going.
Let me ask you this. When you say F everybody, everybody includes Shannon?
It really was towards him and Demekian anyway.
Okay. And so when you say F everybody, you're taking that opportunity to save yourselves as it's time to start talking about other people.
Yes.
Okay. And what did you say right after she said it's time to kill your time to save yourselves? Isn't it true that you looked at Investigator Gaither and said, so y'all want to talk about other cases?
Yes.
Right after lying about your own case, you wanted to talk about other cases.
Cases that I had already heard during my preliminary hearing, like I've been telling y'all about the gun that I got caught with.
I got you. Okay. In the story you gave on August 5th, 2015, the story you gave, not your testimony here this week, but the story you gave back then, that was a story that managed to take guns out of Moontunk's hands. And I'm not saying he had a gun, but you made it clear that Moontunk did not have a gun, did not do the shooting.
Yes.
Okay. And you view that as helping him.
At the time.
At the time. Okay. And after lying and saying you weren't there, the story you told managed to add someone else into the car. Correct?
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
And that story took the gun out of your hand and put it in Shannon's hand, correct?
Yes.
So you could say, hey, I wasn't shooting it all that day. I'm not the bad guy. That was Shannon.
Yes.
In fact, you told the police, you went so far as to tell the police that Antonio Sledge said to you, we don't shoot up houses. That's what they do. Remember saying that?
Yes.
Remember Investigator Dennis laughing at you when you said that?
Yes. I don't remember laughing, but I remember saying that.
The reality, Mr. Zachary, on April 28th, 2015, 3 guys were upset, we'll just speak for you, were high, and did something really stupid. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Those 3 guys were yourself, Demekian Garlington, and Mr. Sledge.
Yes.
Demekian Garlington was upset because he got jumped in the club.
I mean, yeah, who wouldn't be?
You were upset because they were shooting at your girlfriend.
Cousin, really, yeah.
And your cousin. And the ballistics from that scene as you've come to know,
I'm
and
going to object based on hearsay because this witness's information about ballistics from the scene would only be based on hearsay.
it was,
Your Honor, Your Honor, I'd ask that
his
Mr.
knowledge.
Schardt.
Talk at the same time,
It was
please.
in his knowledge
Crawford.
when he gave this statement. And that's what's important.
Your Honor, the
And I
question
assume-
was
Ms. Love.
the question was about the ballistics on the scene, not what he believed, but he specifically stated the ballistics on the scene. That would be based on hearsay, and anything that he is eliciting from this witness about ballistics based on the scene, unless he has a way of having personal knowledge beyond hearsay, it's based on hearsay.
Your gun,
Now, you
Uh,
respond. Are you
I'll just move on.
changing- Okay, great.
your gun, the gun that you had, the gun that you were arrested with on May 5th or 7th, 2015, ejected shell casings on that scene, correct?
Objection, asked, answered, and hearsay, Your Honor.
It's not hearsay, it was there.
It is.
Overruled.
What, I answer? I mean, answer.
Your Honor,
Yes.
did the court mean overruled? Because he's already said that he didn't know. So it was asked and answered.
Well, overruled.
You remember in that clip I just played when you said, so y'all don't want to talk about other cases?
Yes.
Okay. The truth is, in this interview, you went on to talk about the shooting of a house where the mother of a rapper named Lucci lived, correct?
Yes, I think, yeah.
Okay. Is that, in your mind, is that a big case? Was that a publicized case?
I don't remember,
Is
but
that a case that the police were interested in?
yes.
Okay. And you ended up speaking to the police about that case.
Yes.
You ended up
Because
telling lies to the police about that case.
answer and explain, yes, because I had the gun. I keep telling y'all, all this came out at my preliminary hearing.
Okay. So you were trying to get ahead of that case because you were aware that the gun you were arrested with would match that scene as well.
Yes.
One of those other cases that you wanted to talk about was Donovan Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. You, in your understanding, that was a big case.
Yes.
That was the type of case that the police are interested in.
Yes.
That's the type of case that if you give information about that case, it can help you get a bond.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
In his mind, we have to look at his mind state when he's giving these statements. That's his bias and motivation.
That wasn't the question.
Sustained.
Okay. That's the type of case if you give information, get you leniency for shooting up houses.
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
That's what I thought at the time.
As you sat in that meeting, you believed that giving up information about as many of these cases as you could would be good for you.
But like, yes, but if you all the gun is
I understand.
yes.
It was a dual purpose. You wanted to give information to get consideration, but you also were trying to clear yourself from the cases that involved the gun you were arrested.
Yes.
Either way, this desire to help yourself caused you to tell a bunch of lies on August 5th, 2015, didn't it?
I told them I lied.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, that information. Well, okay. Let's talk about the April 28th. Actually. Your Honor, at this time, I have some certified convictions that I'd like to admit.
Okay, show them to Ms. Love.
And Your Honor, for the record, if there's extraneous papers, I would like to just discuss that when we have a moment. But I'm not suggesting that there may be extraneous papers in there.
Okay.
Just a slow turn right near Miss Love.
And I believe I've said this before, but if all of the attorneys could, to the extent possible, inform the other side before that day's trial what evidence you intend to use, it would make things go faster. And I know sometimes you just think all of a sudden, no, I want to use this exhibit. But for the ones you know you're probably going to use, please let the other side look at them beforehand.
This was completely my fault.
Okay.
The state has no objection to DS 49 and DS 50 with the exception of, I think Mr. Schardt called them extraneous on DS 49, the last two, and on DS 50, the last 4 pages.
All right. And so I'm not following. Are y'all? Okay. All right. Well, then.
So
won't
with
matter
the
anyway.
exception of the last 2 on DS 49 and the last 4 pages on DS 50, they have information that is.
Okay. But they're
Your Honor.
not going to get published anyway. Okay.
Your Honor, at this time, I would ask to admit DS 49, which is the certified conviction, State of Georgia versus Quindarrius Zachary, 15 SC 138994.
No objection,
All right. That's admitted and is
with the exception of those
Is-
2 pages.
minus the last 2 pages. And is this the one you referenced as 49Y prior, or is this a different?
No,
No, state reference.
the state referenced it as 509Y.
Oh, okay.
509Y.
All right. Well, I had written down a DS 49Y previously,
his-
but that's not what this is, right? This is just 49, DS 49.
Correct.
Okay. Yes, it's admitted minus the last 2 pages.
And also, Your Honor, I would move to admit what's been marked as DS-50, which is a certified conviction, State of Georgia versus Quindarrius Zachary, 19 SC 165123.
Okay, minus the last 4 pages, right?
Right.
Okay, that's also admitted.
And there's no objection from the state.
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Going back to the April 28, 2015 case, Mr. Zachary, we already talked about how you were charged by Investigator Gaither.
Yes,
And Demekion Garlington was charged in
yes,
July 2015,
yes,
and Antonio Sledge was charged.
yes,
Okay, Shannon Stillwell, and you went to court with these people, and this case went through the system, correct?
yes.
Shannon Stillwell was never charged by the police for the
Objection,
April
Your Honor,
28.
relevance and 403, and I can approach with the reason. I don't want to say it out loud.
Coming up.
We're getting some objections there. We'll see. Trying to find out if Quindarrius Zachary is personally aware of Shannon Stillwell not being charged back in the day. And remember, 403 isn't just waste of time, it could also be relevance. So she said she objected saying relevance, then said 403. So her actual basis under 403 could be the relevance. So, because remember, Rule 403 covers a bunch of different things. Probative versus prejudicial, waste of time, confusing to the jury, relevance, all of that. All of that. And, Marlena Mack, and I've noticed this too, like sometimes we look busy over there. Marlena Mack says, take Love's laptop too, she needs to focus. Extra hilarious after the Quindarrius Zachary laptop thing yesterday. And then Black Butterfly says, this sounds familiar. You know, the whole idea of you're under pressure. You were facing a lot of time. You wanted to point detectives to look the other way. Right? Seems very, very familiar. Thanks for the 2, Black Butterfly. CP Travels became a member. Thank you so much. Floyd says, are the hearings for the Merchant Open Records lawsuit done? The next one, there's one like October 2nd, I think is the date. So not too far away. It's already like the end of September. So not too far away on that. So they're not done. But I think we're going to see the other side. We're going to have some more questions going back and forth. So not done yet. And shout out to everyone that's been covering that. I've been lurking in a few different chats. I know Tay Biz TV has covered it. Dear Woke Christians covered it. And I've also seen you guys mention a bunch of other channels. But really, those are the 2 that I've seen do that. So if you want to shout someone out that is covering the live hearings for Ashley Merchant, go ahead, shout them out. And then Marlena Mack, while I don't think they give the specific age of jurors, you know, I do think there's been talk, you know, they look younger, they look a little bit older. And it's my understanding that nobody on this jury is, like, elderly. So, but they don't, like, publish, like, birth dates or things that could identify the jurors. And I think Law and Crime... I'm going to open a different window so I don't, like, end the stream. I don't want to, like, pull it off the screen in case they come back. But Law and Crime always keeps an up-to-date count of the jurors. The 12, not including alternates. Although maybe it's not up-to-date because it says 6 alternates here. So... But for the 12 that are not alternates, they say 7 black women, 2 black men, 2 white women, and 1 white man. And we don't get any demographics at all for the alternates. So there's that. And I just, from like tuning into Sylvia, and maybe I missed it, but I don't really remember anyone saying like, there's an elderly person. Especially, I don't think that that's been a concern either. Can you imagine like having to have a concern for the length of a trial based on natural age? All right, so that's probably. Wait, that was him squeaking.
Thank you. All right.
I think we had a sustain.
So, Mr. Zachary, I think you said that you were aware that Investigator Gaither charged Demekion Garlington, yourself, and Antonio Sledge for April 28th.
Yes.
Okay. Investigator Gaither never charged Shannon Stillwell, did she?
Oh, he won.
They never charged him. I brought up his name.
Okay. All right. And this case, and I think it's right in front of you, this case, the April 28, 2015 case, was indicted by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
May.
it was indicted on November 13th, 2015?
Yes.
Okay. And that would have been, November 13th, 2015 would have been 2 months and 8 days after you gave this statement. It's claiming that Shannon Stillwell was there.
I guess.
Okay.
That's how long it would have been.
All right. No, actually, I'm wrong. 3 months and 8 days.
I guess.
Okay. Did the district attorney's office, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, ever charge in this indictment Shannon Stillwell with the events of April 28th, 2015?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that question. The indictment speaks for itself and period.
Sustained.
The people charged were you, Antonio Sledge, and Demekion Garlington, correct?
Yes.
May I approach?
You may.
You're aware that this April 28th, 2015 incident is alleged as an overt act in this case, in this indictment, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. I don't think that that's one relevant to this anything.
Sustained.
Okay. Do you know if in this indictment, Shannon Stillwell is even accused of the April 28th, 2015 shootings?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. 9 years have passed since the shooting of Mr. Bennett, YFN Lucci, his mother's house. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And 9 years, 9 years have passed since you gave this statement to the police. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of Shannon Stillwell ever being charged for that crime based on your word?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
All right. We're going to move on to what you said about the Donovan Thomas case back in 2015, right?
Okay.
And I know that you've said it's lies, correct?
Yes.
You actually gave 2 statements to the police about these, all of these things. You met with the police in August 5th, 2015 with Gaither, Dennis, and Thorpe, correct?
Yes.
And then as the state brought out, you also had a proffer session set up by your attorney, correct?
That I didn't know nothing about.
Okay, to your understanding, did your attorney set that up?
I never knew until I got there.
Okay.
That's why we had I think it's supposed to be something happened behind that or something. I never heard nothing else about it after the fact.
To your understanding, was the purpose for you to give information on other people to try to get leniency on your case?
I told you I don't even know like what that was. Like I never even like to be honest, like that wasn't even my lawyer at the time.
Okay.
So that's how I don't know. Though I told you something supposed to happen behind.
Well, let me ask you this. On March 3rd, 2017, you were still in jail, correct?
Yes.
Still wearing a blue jumpsuit, correct?
Yes.
And March 3rd, 2017, it was no different than August 5th, 2015. You wanted out, correct?
Yes.
You were still facing the same charges.
Yes.
All right. You've testified, or strike that. The state asked you about 2 different statements you gave, right?
Yes.
About 2 years in between, or a year and a half in between.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've been asked about what you said about Shannon, my client, allegedly confessing to you.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Zachary, you would agree that the truth never changes, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. It's just vague and bowstring and
Overruled.
You would agree the truth never changes?
Yes.
You would agree that if you tell a true story on different days, that story should not change.
objection, vague, improper.
Overruled.
Man, I ain't.
Answer my question, and you would agree that if you tell a true story on 2 different days, that truth should not change.
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit DS 41D, which is August 5th, 2015 statement. Evidence reviewer 25115 to 25145. And Mr. Kokomo, if you could pull it up but not play it yet.
Is this D and it's in Delta?
DS,
Okay.
yes.
No. I'm
Delta,
sorry.
Delta, Delta.
Oh, I'm
Not
sorry, the
DS.
back, yes, Delta. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Yes.
DS. Which one? DS.
DS 41 Delta.
Thank you.
And,
State has no,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say state has no objection.
All right.
Okay. And Mr. Zachary, in these interviews, they asked you about where and when this confession occurred, correct?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Kokomo, could you publish DS 41 Delta?
All right. And it is admitted.
Where were you guys when Shannon was telling you this, and what day was it? Same day or day after?
Same night. Shannon, I was walking through. I had just walked me and Moose had just pulled up at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And Shannon finna go to a girl house. And all the bullets were going out the gun. Like, he like, we ain't got no guns. They see Moose on the gun.
Right.
Moose had a little handgun. They see Moose on the gun and go to the store. Moose say, wait, I ain't got no bullet. And that was Shannon
And Shannon started talking.
Now, Mr. Zachary, as I understand your testimony today, your testimony is when you showed up at Jeffrey Williams' condo that night or that morning, early hours of the morning, Shannon was not there. Is that your testimony? I'm talking about in court now, under oath.
I think when I first got there, Shannon went down.
Okay. However, in this statement that you gave August 5th, 2015, you told the police that you pulled up with Muntunk and you saw Shannon when you arrived.
Oh, man, go ahead, answer. Man, they know them were lies. Look how long ago that was. They ever lies.
I understand, but I'm asking, that's what you said on August 5th. That was the
Yes.
lie you told.
Yes.
Okay. And the lie you told was Shannon said he was about to go to a girl's house, correct?
Yes.
Meaning Shannon had not gone to a girl's house yet. He was about to go.
You say that would happen?
No, I'm saying that's what you told
Yeah,
the police.
meaning.
And you told the police when Shannon was about to go to the girl's house, that's when you started talking and he confessed.
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I would ask, I'd move to admit DS 37B, which is from the March 3rd, 2017 interview from 3418 to 3438.
Admit it.
And permission to publish.
You may.
And supposedly everybody went back to Thug's condo on 10th Street.
Nah, when about that with me, Thug, Yak, and Dottie. Shannon had them came later that morning though. But when we found out Nut died, then my right there with me, Shannon, Yak. Munson had pulled up too, because he had heard, he called her, he pulled up.
Okay. So in that clip on March 3rd, 2017, you were asked about when you pulled up, right?
Yes.
To the condo. And you said the only people there were Yak, Thug, and Dolly. Correct?
Yes.
And that Shannon didn't show up until later that morning.
They told you that. Yes.
You told them that Shannon was not there when you arrived at Jeffrey's condo.
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit DS 38B, which is also from the March 3rd, 2017 interview from 1545 to 1609. Permission to publish.
Who was with you at the condo when Uncle called and said?
Me, Thug, Yak, and Dolly. Yak and Dolly, and his Thug girlfriend.
Where was Shannon?
Him and Demetrius with some girl. Some girl dropped him off at the condo
Later on?
about right 4, 9 time, like 4, 5 in the morning.
4, 5 in the morning. That's a
Okay. And that clip, that second clip from March 3rd, 2017, again, you say that Yak, Dolly, Thug, and you were at the condo. Correct?
Yes.
And you were specifically asked, where's Shannon?
Yeah.
And you told, did you recognize that voice as the person who asked you?
Dennis.
Okay. And you told the police and the DAs that were sitting in that meeting that Shannon was with some girls with Demekion.
Yeah.
And they didn't show up to Jeffrey's condo until 4 or 5 in the morning.
I told you that, yeah.
I'm going to, Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit DS 39A, which is also from the March 3rd, 2017 interview, 1815 to 1833.
It's admitted.
Permission to publish.
You may, and I'm sorry, did you say 38 or 39?
39A.
Okay.
If Demekian and Shannon came in at what, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, where y'all been there for the last 7, 8 hours?
It was a girl that was dropped. I'm saying that was dropped off at the studio.
What girl?
I don't know the girl from Canterbury.
That's what they told y'all?
We saw the girl.
Right, but
Okay. In that clip, Dennis is asking about Shannon again, correct?
Yes.
And he changed it. You had already told him 4 or 5. He changed it to 3 or 4, and you corrected him and said, no, they didn't show up till 4 or 5 in the morning, correct?
Yes.
And you said they were with girls, right?
Yes.
And Dennis tried to say, oh, that's what they told you. And you told him you saw the girls,
Yes.
okay? And because you, in fact, did see the girls that night.
Yes.
When
that
the-
morning.
Right, that morning, thank you, when Shannon and Demekian showed up at 4 or 5 a.m. And they were girls from Mechanicsville.
I don't know where they were from for real.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to ask to admit DS39E Echo into evidence, and that's also from the March 3rd, 2017, from 3644 to 3719.
Admitted.
And you talked to Shannon when he got there that night?
Was it Sprinkle?
The morning, yeah.
All right, and that's when he told you that he actually was in the car,
Just said we called him down bad.
that he and some other guys killed Nut, basically.
Just said we called him down bad.
All right, well, he said that he ran across Nut that night,
Yeah.
anyway, right? And he said he was with, Yak,
He
Nard.
said everybody with Deacon told me.
Okay, so
Okay. So that is where you're telling the lie on Shannon in the 2017 interview, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, I understand it's a lie, but let's talk about the details that you gave there in that clip. Shannon told you we caught Nut down.
And I think this is the same interview, and there's someone sitting next to him where, well, they tricked me. They said it was my lawyer, but it wasn't really my lawyer. So I think the figure sitting next to him is that person, and he was looking the other way, speaking to Michael Sprinkle.
Down bad when he got there that morning, correct?
He ain't tell me that.
No, I'm saying that's what you told the
Yeah.
police.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting that. That's what you told the police
Yes.
after he got dropped off by the girls.
Yes.
And in fact, you're the person who let him in the condo when the girls dropped him off, correct?
Yes.
Because you need a card to get into the condo and you had to go down and let them in, and that's how you saw the girls.
Yes.
And in 2017, your claim was Shannon told you after he got back from the girls' house.
Yes.
All right, so let's review. You would agree from 2015 to 2017, your story about the circumstances of this supposed confession changed.
Yes.
August 5th, you claim that Shannon tells you after asking you for a gun or asking Moontooth for a gun so he can go see girls. Right?
Yes.
2017, you're claiming Shannon confessed. You're claiming you never saw Shannon that night when you arrived. And you're claiming Shannon confessed after he returns, after he's been dropped off by the girls, which you saw.
Yes.
Both lies,
I told you they were lying.
but the lies changed, didn't they?
Yes, I ain't even remembering. You see, they were saying and I.
The truth doesn't change, but lies change, correct?
Yes.
All right, let me ask you this. On March 3rd, 2017, when you told that second version of the lie, did any of the investigators, did any of the district attorneys sitting up there with you say, hold on, Mr. Zachary, back in 2015, you said this, now you're saying this. Explain why it changed. Did anyone?
voice?
Objection compound.
Did anyone ask for clarification of why your story had changed?
No.
Okay, let's talk about what Mr. Stillwell, again, it's a lie, but what your lies were, what he supposedly confessed to, okay? Okay, we're going to talk about that next. All right. Your Honor, I move to admit DS 41C, which is from the August 5th, 2015 interview, 249:30 to 249:51.
Admitted.
Permission to publish.
Nothing, man. So, do you remember the exact words that Shannon told you as far as what happened? Yeah. I was just caught nigga nut down bad. We said we caught the nigga nut down bad. Yeah. I like me, yeah, nut, do what?
Okay. In August 5th, 2015, the lie you gave was that Shannon said we caught the N nut down bad, right?
Yes.
And the lie also, you also added to that lie by saying Shannon told you that it was him, Yak, Nard, and Duop in the car, correct?
Yes.
And as Ms. Love has brought out in direct examination, you also claim that Shannon gave you all sorts of details about the incident. That was the lie you told in 2015.
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move to admit DS 39E, Echo, which is from March 3rd, 2017.
No
from
objection.
3644 to 3719.
Admitted.
Permission to publish.
Okay.
And you talked to Shannon when he got there that night?
That morning, yeah.
All right, and that's when he told you that he actually was in the car.
He said we caught him down bad.
All right, that he and some other guys killed Nut, basically.
He said we caught him down bad.
All right. Well, he said that he ran across Nut that night,
Yeah.
right? And he said he was with Yak,
He didn't
Nard.
tell me why he was weekend. I told him.
Okay, so
Okay. Mr. Zachary, you just saw that clip?
Yes.
Okay, on March 3rd, 2017, when you were being questioned by law enforcement, you told a lie. And you said that Shannon said, we caught Nut down bad.
Yes.
And law enforcement asked for clarification about what else he said. And they said he told you who he was in the car with, right?
Yes.
And you told law enforcement, no, Shannon didn't tell me who he was in the car with. Demekion told me.
Yes.
Okay, your story about what Shannon said to you changed.
Yes.
From August 5th, 2015 to March 3rd, 2017.
Yes.
August 5th, He's given all these details. March 3rd, 2017, he just says, we caught someone down bad, and you get the details from someone else.
Yes.
Okay? Your Honor, I move to admit DS40D, which
No
is
objection from the
for the
state.
March 3rd, 2017, 25923 to 25946. Ms. Kokomo, if you'll play that when you get it up. Oh, and this is just an audio clip, Your Honor.
All right, so I was one of the four guys that was in the car when Nut got shot. All right.
Based on what?
Ford and Shannon.
No, the Shannon. For the video? Shannon is who's in for
That's right. You said.
the video tell you what the whole entire starting lineup. Yeah. So he had nothing to do.
Could you hear that?
No.
Okay. Can you play it any louder, Mr. Kokomo?
And if that doesn't work, he might be able to plug those headphones into that laptop.
Oh.
I'm also still loving the Crayola colors. Factual Lie says screaming
Ms.
green.
Persfield didn't seem to have a lot of faith in me doing it correctly.
Persifield's the closest thing we have to IT.
Yes,
so we'll go with what she thinks.
But yeah, you guys are hilarious with the Crayola colors. Screaming green. I'm thinking of the Screaming Goats. Factual Lie. Yeah, and I think down bad is something with multiple uses, but the state is saying that there's only one way down bad can ever be used.
Yeah, I don't know about the seating arrangements. Weird. I feel like
Yeah,
it's like I'm like at the United Nations over here.
What? Sprinkle.
Ms. Kokomo, it's 259.23. He's trying to pull it up on evidence
I
review.
think that part was the part that was
Right.
relevant.
Ah. I want to clip that soundbite and play it when I go to a wedding and don't like the table arrangements.
I got mad about it, yeah, but Boom told me don't get out the car, and get out the car.
Who's that guy right there? You recognize him?
That dude walk, look like, yeah.
All right, so I was one of the four guys that was in the car when Nut got shot. All right.
Based on what?
Ford and Shannon.
No, the Shannon. For the video? Shannon is who's in for
That's right. You said.
Did you hear them ask, who told you who was in the car?
Yes.
And they said, who told you, Shannon?
I said, yeah.
And you said,
No,
no, Demekion.
yeah.
Okay. So the clip in 2015, the lie you told in 2015 was Shannon confessed and told you everything, right?
Yes.
Lie you told in 2017, Shannon confessed, says we caught Nut down bad, and Demekion says who's in the car.
He ain't say nut. I think I said he said nigga or something.
Okay. All right, N-word down bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way,
It was a lie.
2015 to 2017, the lie changed. Not only the circumstances surrounding this quote unquote confession, but what was said in the quote unquote confession changed
Yes,
over 2 days, on 2 different days, 2 different tellings of the story.
yes,
The fact that what you were claiming Shannon told you to these law enforcement and DAs on March 3rd, 2017, did any of them say, hold on, Mr. Zachary? Back in 2015, you told us this. Now you're telling us this. Explain it. Did anyone ask you to explain it?
nah,
Okay. All right. Let's talk about a pattern that's emerging here. April 28, 2015. You don't want to implicate yourself, right? You don't want to get yourself in trouble. You want to distance yourself from those shootings, right?
Objection compound.
Sustained.
You don't want to put yourself at the scene,
yes,
but you still want to give information to the police to get out of jail.
yes,
Okay, and your first instinct, the very first thing you did is say, I wasn't there, but someone confessed to me what happened, right?
yes,
And that confession was wholly made up. It was a lie. That confession never occurred.
yes, it never.
Okay. Investigators bring up the Donovan Thomas case. In that same interview, you say, I wasn't there, but I have information that can maybe get me some help, right?
Yes,
Get me out of jail, get me leniency.
yes,
And it was a confession that someone just told you. That's the
yes.
information you had.
Your Honor, these are asked and answered.
Sustained.
That was a lie,
Your Honor, asked and answered.
Sustained.
completely made up.
Asked and answered.
Let's talk about these lies that you told, how they worked out for you.
Your Honor, and I, with respect to the commentary, I object.
Sustained.
You said you were facing, what was it, 190,
189.
189 years?
Yeah,
Okay. You pled guilty to that 2015 case in what, 2017?
late
Objection,
2017.
asked and answered.
Late 2017.
Late 2017, and you were,
I was
out of those 189 years, how much time did you end up serving?
like 28 months in Wright Street, but I had another case I was fighting to.
Right, and you ended up getting 28 months, actually 27 months in Rice Street, total sentence for the shooting case and the gun case, correct?
Nah, I had beat the gun charge, but they ain't never
Whatever that case is.
what case?
19
one here?
SC? Oh, you're talking about their federal case.
Nah, you say I had like 4, 5 open cases at the time.
Okay. The bottom line is, we just talking about this one case, facing, in your mind, 189 years. You get 27 months.
But I still had other cases too.
And were they wrapped into the 27 months?
Nah, it was separate.
Okay. So you got 27 months for that shooting case. You got to go home as soon as you pled, right? As soon as soon as they released you from jail, you got credit for time served, release time served, right?
No, I said Wright Street I got credit for time served in court, but I still had 6 more.
6 more months, then you got to go home.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're on probation.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Zachary, you've admitted to buying a gun for Kenneth Copeland, correct?
Yes.
You've admitted to being in possession of guns that were on the scene of multiple shootings.
Yes.
Okay. You admitted to being present and making a video with Antonio Sledge threatening to shoot Shell Cal.
Yes.
Okay. You admitted to posing in a picture. Oh, that video with Antonio Sledge?
Yeah.
That's part of this indictment, correct?
I don't know.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
Foundation,
He doesn't know, he doesn't know.
foundation, relevance. The jury has the indictment.
You admitted to posing in a picture with gun pointed at the camera with Demekion Garlington?
Yes.
With the caption, "We bring homicide"?
Yes.
That's charged in this indictment, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
You don't know?
Sustained.
Okay. Were you ever put on this indictment?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance, foundation.
Were you ever charged under this indictment?
Nah, they know they ain't never wanted to charge me.
Okay. So you were facing 189 years.
Objection, asked and answered.
I don't know what the rest of the question's gonna be.
You served 27 months, and then you were left off this indictment.
Objection,
Right?
asked and answered, Judge.
Yes, sustained.
You would agree that the lies you told back in 2015 and 2017, it worked out pretty well for you, didn't it?
Objection, Your Honor. Improper question, bolstering.
Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I never took no plea even when they were offering. I never took no plea.
I understand.
And I got right out and met with Shannon lawyer and told him I was lying. Like,
Was that me?
no, he had another lawyer.
Okay.
But I never, even my last case I just caught, they were offering pleas for, I was locked up 4-5 months, they offering pleas. My upcoming cases, I never knew what they were. I never took no plea. I said 4 more years, even when they were offering me time served.
Okay.
I never wanted to take no plea to go home. I was just young at the time, and as I learned,
The truth is, Mr. Zachary, that you did lie and you didn't want to be here today.
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Okay. You didn't want to be here today because you knew these lies were going to come out.
no, I wanted to be here. That way I can clear the lies up. Like, I've been trying for years. This ain't that new. As his old lawyer, I've been trying to clear them up. This ain't new. They know that.
You're on probation?
Yes.
Okay. Until recently, you had an attorney, correct?
I never knew about the attorney until he showed up while I was in the hospital.
Okay.
Yes.
But that is correct?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware that in open court,
Objection, Your Honor, as to whether or not I'd ask that the witness be required to give a foundation for anything done while he wasn't in here, considering the rule of sequestration.
involved him?
Open
Were
court.
you aware that in open court, DA Love wanted to remind your attorney
Objection,
that you're
Your
on
Honor,
20 years
that is
probation?
not relevant, and that is improper, and Mr. Schardt knows that.
Sustained.
I have no further questions.
All right. Any other defense counsel have questions?
Is Love gonna want to call the attorney again?
All right. How long's your questioning going to be?